Hello, my name is Madde, and today we're going to talk about my first album, Q.E.D. I released Q.E.D. December 6, 2016. It was recorded between March 5th and November 14th of 2016. The first song I wrote was I'm Doing Fine, and I released it on SoundCloud December 29th, 2014. This is where it all started to take off. I'm going to call that fact number 1, and we're now moving on to fact number 2. Q.E.D. is a Latin abbreviation for Quod Illat Demonstratum, which translates to which was to be demonstrated or which was to be shown, and it's usually used in mathematics to show that an argument is complete. And I found this in the dictionary that I carried around with me everywhere in high school. This is that very dictionary, filled with annotations, highlights. It's falling apart. Fact number 3. I was still in high school when I recorded Q.E.D. I was a senior, and I still have braces on, and you can hear it in every song. Fact number 4. I recorded most of the album at Electric Canyon Studios in Paradise. The studio no longer exists because it burnt out in 2018 at the campfire. The rest of this album was recorded between my bedroom, the hallway, and in the bathroom that my brother and I shared in our dad's house. Fact number 5. These songs were, for the most part, recorded in order with how they were arranged on the album. I don't think for the most part. They definitely were. It's all in order. Number 6. I took the photo for the album art in the garage of my dad's house. The car on the cover is a 1968 California Special Mustang. I chose this for the cover art because the image of me in a car window kept popping in my head when recording and trying to think of an album cover. It kept coming to my head, so I thought this has to happen just because it is in my head so much. I don't really know why. And so why not use the classic car that is in my very garage? I edited the image to add more color and more distortion to reflect the sound of the album. Fact number 7. To afford the cost of the album, CD production cost, studio time, and distribution, I worked at Hot Topic, believe it or not. I worked there because I thought it would be funny, and I needed a job to afford the album. I was working all through my senior year to afford this album. Fact number 8. I learned how to produce music on my own using Adobe Audition, and if you're familiar, it is not the most user-friendly software. I learned the hard way. I went to a science and arts high school specifically, and they had a music production program. But I was so set on using Adobe Audition for some reason that I thought, why would I want to learn Pro Tools? That is silly. Of course, a 15-year-old would have the ego to say that. I ended up taking that class at the end of my senior year, after the album came out, and I learned a lot that I carried on to my next album. Fact number 9, and the last fact I have for now. One thing I noticed while going over these songs, they were written in such a transitional period of my life. My parents were just getting a divorce. I was moving houses, but none of the songs are about that. And I thought that was very interesting, and I only noticed that while writing out this list of facts, because I thought, oh my god, there's nothing about that. It's written in plenty of other albums and songs I have, but not in this first one. So, I don't know. I was writing about a lot more stories and fun things. Now I'm going to talk about all the songs on the album and what they mean, because when I find out the meaning of a song or like the story behind it, I love the song so much more. So I want to give that opportunity for you guys to understand my songs better. Dead Fish. I wrote the song while I was in study hall. Along with writing music in class, I spent a lot of time drawing on myself. I was taking every art class possible. I love drawing. So obviously I'm drawing on myself. I'm a teenager. And in study hall, I drew a fish on my leg. And I wanted to immortalize this fish for some reason by writing a song about it. Here's a picture of the fish I drew, and this is the actual fish that I drew on my leg that this song is about. It's not that deep. It's pretty much just how a dead fish had a whole life that no one knew about, and I'm talking to it after it has died, asking it questions and creating this whole life in my head for it. I like dead fish. You got gold and diamond rings. Fish don't have fingers. It's just a fun concept. Sonder. This was the very first song I wrote on my mandolin. I got a mandolin for $80 in high school at my local music shop, and I fell in love instantly. I brought it with me to class, which was a little insufferable, but this song is about my little brother, Creighton. I was always a little jealous of how good he was at school, at sports, at making friends. We have always been polar opposites. I always felt like I made wrong choices, and I always felt like he made the right choices in life. Obviously, as a 15-year-old writing this song, yes, that's how I'm gonna feel. I don't know. The sibling competition thing is very universal. Now I know, listening back as an adult, this was me looking up to my brother. I never made a wrong choice. There were two different people, not worth comparing. But I was always really proud of him, and I always will be. And I love my brother. Warhog. This is the third song on Q.E.D. This song musically was inspired by Black Sabbath's War Pigs, believe it or not. And Jack White's guitar and drums were a huge inspiration as well. I wrote this because I was upset at everything, and I'm an angsty teenage girl whose parents just got divorced. I wanted to be angry and sing about it, and that's what it is. These lyrics were written for more of interpretation of the listener, and there's not a particular story in mind. But yeah, I hope you can feel angry too listening to this song. The drums in this song were directly inspired by Freedom at 21 by Jack White. I doubled the track, and I ever so slightly moved one to the right. And then I panned them both so it sounds like the drums are moving from ear to ear, kind of like brah, brah. I loved hearing those drums just run across my brain, basically. So I wanted to give that same effect. Infrared. This song has very similar themes to Nimrod, which I will talk about later. It is pretty straightforward, not a lot of symbolism like my other songs. It's about the things I learned at age 16. Having to accept that not everyone's going to like me. Having friends go down different paths and realizing, oh, we're going to grow apart from this. And that's okay. But when you're 16, it doesn't feel okay. This was the third song I ever put out on SoundCloud, and listening back to it, I was like enjoying my own songs, and I was like, oh my god, I am proud of this. I love this. And I think this song really set the tone for how I would feel when I wrote like a really good song. Like, I was like, oh my god, this is what I want to do forever, and this is what I want to feel every time I write a song. So this was a very inspirational song for me to even just write. Allegory of Humanity. This song is about having awkward social interactions, and I feel like it is so extremely universal for all of mankind. I had a lot of social anxiety when I was a kid and when I was a teenager, as most everyone does. And I realized into my early adulthood that, oh my god, everyone feels this way. We're all kind of feeling this like, oh, I shouldn't have said that. Oh, what the fuck am I doing? Ugh. That's so universal, and that's so okay. And once I realized that, I was like, oh my god. It doesn't matter what I do. It doesn't matter what I say, because as long as I'm myself, that's what the world needs, and that's what the world wants, so I'm just gonna be myself. Makes things a lot easier. And if the conversation is awkward or doesn't go as I want it to, that's okay. Most conversations are anyway. It's fine. Electric to Inept. This song I still play at almost every one of my shows. There's no real deep meaning to this song other than it's going from nothing to something. That's the whole concept. Electric to Inept. Or I guess the title is more like something to nothing. Either way, it's the and it's very fun to dance to. That's all I'll say. Mr. Stintman. This was the first song I ever wrote that was like a story. The man at the start of the story is supposed to give off the impression of a man meeting another man to basically do a drug deal or something sketchy at a train station. That's the scene I'm setting. He meets Mr. Stintman, and Mr. Stintman is this person I made up who's essentially Father Time, but if Father Time was a con man, which I kind of think he is. The man who's at the train station going to meet Mr. Stintman is begging him for more time. He's upset at Mr. Stintman because he's old, he's tired, and he has little time left. Mr. Stintman proceeds to give him this illusion of time by placing his hand on his shoulder and making him feel like, oh, I'm in my youth again. Yay, I'm free. When in reality, it's the same guy, same body, same time. It's just an illusion. Mr. Stintman ends up just waiting at the train station for who he will deceive next. I wrote this song as a reminder of time passing, and you will get old and life will happen no matter what. Take changes and don't be bitter when you get older because of things you did or didn't do when they were out of your control. Crush. This song, as I look back and try and get to the headspace of where I was when I wrote this, I remember listening to a ton of Smashing Pumpkins. The first verse pretty much describes my room. I'm in my room in this song. And all I ever would do after school, I'd ride my bike, run, or play guitar. That was all I was doing. I had a ton of books and journals all over my room, post-it notes on everything, on the whole wall was just like this album I'm writing. And it was my creative space. There's this verse in the song though. Same pastor that my parents married, baptized me and had my grandparents buried, in a J. June manner praying over the dead as if they haven't heard the best of it yet. I wrote this verse specifically to take me out of my room, kind of get into like this bigger picture of life moment. And it does feel out of place because it is out of place. It's not in my room anymore. I named the song Crush because of the Smashing Pumpkins song Crush. I was just really obsessed with them at the time, and I had no clue what to call the song, and Crush felt right. Rocket. This song I wrote simply to explain how it felt going out of my comfort zone. I used my Critter and Guitar Bolsa bass on this song, which I was very excited to get this on the album. It was also kind of my intro into synth, and it definitely reflects on everything I still make today. I love synth. I love bands that use synth. I get very inspired by synth. You can do so much with it. And this was my first synth ever. This song was fun to record. I love the guitar riff. It's fun to play. And yeah, the song is just about forcing myself to be uncomfortable so I could grow. Because that was a very hard lesson I learned early on that I knew I should learn at an early age. So I wrote a song about how I'm going different places, doing different things, and literally shooting myself off into space. And it's uncomfortable, but you gotta do it. You gotta move. You gotta get out of your comfort zone. This song was definitely a kickstart to how I write music today. And I will never lose the fire I felt when I was writing this song. Division Street. Oh boy, I love this song. This song is very close to my heart because it's about my first time going to Nashville. 2 weeks after my 16th birthday, my dad took both of us to Nashville to nerd out on music, old studios, museums. The lyrics in the song are a bit esoteric, but I will explain them all because I want not just me and my dad to know every little detail of this song, even though it is very special. The second line in the song is number 3, yellow, blue, lily. Go on record, write and think. This is from my second day there. I went to Third Man Records and I went to record myself on the recording booth. It's such a cool experience. And it was like $15 to record a song, which I have. They're both right here. I recorded 2 songs. I recorded this song called Match and Vengeance, which I haven't listened to since 2016. Match and Vengeance and Oblivion. Oblivion was released as a part of a single in 2021, along with Let Love In. The Lily part of that line was about Lily May. Later that day, I was downtown on Broadway and 2nd playing guitar on the street, playing every song I've ever written and some covers and just replaying them over and over again. I was out there for maybe 3 hours and I was kind of busking. I made like $3. That wasn't really the goal. It was just cool to be playing in Nashville. After I played, my dad and I went into the Hard Rock Cafe to get some water, which was right across the street. And inside was a band playing. The female vocals sounded super familiar, so I went inside and I thought, what could the odds be? There's no way. Which there was obviously a way. I was in Nashville. And it turns out it was who I thought it was. It was Lily Mae Reish. I had known about her from listening to Jack White, and I saw Jack White in 2014, and she was his fiddle player. I sat and watched their set and waited for her to finish before going up and talking to her. And I think that she could tell that I knew who she was because I was on the edge of my seat and I was one of 4 people in the room. I thought, oh my God, not only is she Jack White's fiddle player, which was pretty cool, she herself is an amazing musician and has released music, and I loved it. I obviously was listening to it. After her set finished, she came up and talked to me, and it was the coolest thing ever. She was super sweet, and it was just a lovely conversation. I don't remember what we were talking about, obviously, but she was very kind. And we still stay connected to this day. As for the busking situation, the next night I went to the same spot, and it's really competitive to get a spot to busk in Nashville. Shocker, I know. It was very close to the same spot I was at, and I had a sign up that said, if you like my music, take $1. And I put the dollars and a few bucks I made from the night before, and no one took money, but people were stopping to like actually listen to me this time. I was like, that was kind of cool. And more people put money in, so it was a really cool little social experiment to see. I also realized that the lyrics in my booklet for the CD do not match the lyrics in the song, which is an older version of the song. So if you have the CD with the booklet, there are only 1,000 of these made. It's special because I'm not reprinting this. Nimrod. I referenced this song earlier when I was talking about Infrared, but I wrote Nimrod during my senior year of high school about watching some of my friends go down a different path with alcohol and drugs. Some people abusing it, some not, just doing what high schoolers do. I never really drank or did any drugs, so there was a huge gap between my friends and me. Not all of them, but just some. And I stopped getting invited to some things mostly because of sobriety, and a lot of my other sober friends also experienced this. I don't know if they thought I was judging them or not, but I never really minded hanging out with people at parties, doing whatever they wanted to do. I just didn't want to do it myself. I've had examples of people in my life who have shown me what happens when you abuse those things, so it never appealed to me. I was wrapped up in the straight edge punks because they were people I could hang out with and not have this weird do you or do you not drink vibe. I never liked the idea of being labeled as straight edge though. I just do things and I don't do things, and I don't think I need a label for that. I'm doing fine. As I said before, this was the first song I put on the internet ever. In the beginning of the phone call, I say, Voltron, because I had a purple button-up Voltron shirt from my mom. It had like a collar on it. It was super cool. And I wore it all the time in high school. And my friends sometimes called me Voltron. But I did feel like a fraud because I had never seen it. I wrote this song based off of one image from Donnie Darko. It's a movie that came out in 2001 if you're not familiar with it. It's that scene where the locker rooms are flooded after Donnie takes an axe to some pipes in the high school. I don't know why this image kept popping up in my head, but I always felt like I imagined myself standing on top of the lockers, and if I had a friend with me and they fell, I would fall too. I don't know why this image or feeling kept coming up, but it did. So I was gonna write a song about it. This song was inspired by the Beatles, if you can't hear it. And I wanted a happy tone but the lyrics would have a little bit of a deeper meaning and depth than the song, and that's why the song is the way it is. Q.E.D is 9 years this week, giving me a chance to look at where I came from in these last 9 years and get me excited about what the future holds. I have Q.E.D CDs on sale on my website. Thank you for watching. Please ask questions, comment below. I will respond. I love engaging with you guys, and I love answering more questions if you have any about this album. Bye!